up, everybody, and welcome into episode 35 of the H&M Trucking podcast. I am your host, Marcus, and wow, what an episode do we have for you today. Now, I have to ask for a little bit of forgiveness. Let's put it that way, because we had a lot going on here in these last couple of weeks. I was actually out for most of last week on an elk hunt in northeastern Oregon. Unfortunately, we were not able to fill any tags, but we had to record some episodes a little bit further ahead of time than what we would normally do. We like to keep them as fresh as we can for you guys. If there's any breaking news or anything like that, we definitely want to cover it, and especially if there's important info that the company wants you to have, we want it to be as fresh as possible. No sense having a memo come out and not getting a hold of it until 3 weeks later, right? So, the reason I'm asking for your forgiveness here is because today we are going to have our Veterans Day episode. A very special thanks in this Veterans Day episode is going to go out to all of our vets at H&M Trucking and beyond, and this is a very, very important thing to me. You know, last year over Veterans Day, if you remember correctly, we were still doing the Unplugged OTR. I'm a little foggy today. Please forgive me. We still had a different version of this podcast that was running. It was called Unplugged OTR. If you haven't listened to it, you can go check out all of those episodes down at the very bottom of the feed. But one of the things we did bring you last year was a massive list of restaurants that give out free food to veterans on Veterans Day. Now, obviously, since you're listening to this after Veterans Day, we weren't able to bring you the same information this year. But the reason that this has always been so special to me is a little bit of Marcus history here. While I was in college, I supported myself with a part-time radio job that paid me a bag of corn nuts and a pat on the bottom once every 2 weeks. I also supported myself by being what they call an Apple Buddy. That's right, I worked at your neighborhood-friendly Applebee's here in Eugene, Oregon, and you know, everybody seemed to dread Veterans Day on the management staff there, and I could never figure out why. Well, it's because Applebee's is one of those restaurants that gives out a lot of free food. And it wasn't that management didn't want to give out the free food. It cost them nothing to do so, and they were happy to do it. It's that it was so well attended that they were worried the restaurant staff wouldn't be able to hold up. I'm happy to say that when I was there, everything went swimmingly. The veterans that come in to get free food from Applebee's are a very respectful bunch. Everybody was very happy to receive what they received, and I got to sit down with some awesome people and listen to some awesome stories. Now, that's really where my respect for Veterans Day grew to where it is today, but I've always had a massive respect for veterans before I got to sit down and talk to a lot of them. My own grandfather was a veteran of Pearl Harbor and World War II. I've got uncles that were in the armed services, and friends and extended family even beyond that, who are all vets and made a sacrifice so that they could protect this great nation. And I know that there's a lot of you out there that work for H&M and that listen to this podcast that did the exact same thing. So, that being said, today on this podcast, we are going to make sure and shout out the veterans that work for H&M Trucking, and we'll even talk to one a little bit later on for our driver profile, which I think is really cool. You know, it's hard to relate to a veteran because you never know, A, what they went through while they were in the service, and B, you don't know what they went through after they got out of the service. One thing I do know is that all the veterans across the country made that sacrifice that I spoke of just moments ago, and for that, I am endlessly grateful. Can't tell you enough, and I'll probably never really be able to put it into words that will actually make sense. So instead, I'm going to do my best to put all of that energy into this podcast today and bring you a fantastic episode. Part of that episode is also going to be hearing from one of our favorites when she lays down the law. Eve Essary will join us later today. And Brittany Yarbrough will make her first appearance. And you guys, I am terrified because Brittany is hilarious. She is a very funny person. She is very straightforward. I took my hat off once while I was at lunch with Brittany and Eve, and Brittany told me, please put the hat back on. So there you have a little story, if you're watching this on YouTube, as to why I'm always wearing a hat. It's not the only reason, but she affirmed everything that I've already decided about the top of my head. I'm not going to sit here and jabber at you any longer. I want to get to some of the meat of this episode. So I'm going to say it a lot of times during this episode, but I want to say it again. Happy Veterans Day. Happy belated Veterans Day to all you veterans out there working for H&M and beyond. Let's get to it.
From Omaha, Nebraska, to whatever lane you're driving, this is the H&M Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
All right, very excited for this interview here on the H&M Trucking Podcast. We have Brittany Yarbrough, who's a recruiter for H&M Trucking, making her very first appearance. Brittany, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, Eve told me that you've been kind of wanting to get on the podcast here. I don't know if that's true or if she just said that so that it would get me off of her back and have me call somebody else. But we're very glad to have you here.
Yes, happy to be involved. Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your position as a recruiter, because you are the first recruiter that we've had here on the pod.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm actually, I'm kind of a recruiter. I do more of the onboarding specialist stuff. So I get them to Omaha. I set up all the travel. I do setting them up with drug screen physicals before they come. And then I basically just run orientation all week. And we've been doing some Wednesday classes as well. So it's been busy, but fun.
That's good. Busy is a good thing, especially with the way that everybody knows that things have been in the industry here lately. It's been a little bit of sour apples as far as the industry as a whole. So to hear that you've got drivers coming in and getting them onboarded is always good news, I would assume.
Yes, good news. We've had a pretty big class this past week. We had 7 guys, so that was good for us. And then we still had a Wednesday class, so been busy this past couple weeks. So
awesome. Now, I've got to ask you, do you kind of kick them into the pool? Because listen, I got to have lunch with you when I was in Omaha for the very first time. I had a great time. I felt like I'd known you for years because you were instantly comfortable around me, which I'm a lot sometimes, Brittany. And so to know that you were willing to kind of hit back or hit first was a great thing. Do you kind of kick the truckers into the pool like that so that they know who they're dealing with? And does that help them be comfortable in orientation and onboarding?
I do, yes. So this guy just sent to the shop today, actually. We have nicknames now because he's tiny, so I call him pocket size. He's only about 5'5", but just hell of a guy. He's funny. I can just kind of fuck with him, you know. Can I cuss him?
Absolutely. I'll remind everybody here that the first F-bomb ever dropped on this podcast was by Eve Essary herself. So that opened the door for the rest of us, okay?
Good. Okay. So now I don't feel bad. Okay. Yeah. So, I just kind of have fun with all the onboarding guys, the new guys. They seem to take it well, as well as they can be. But yeah, I just have fun with them. That's part of my job, and that's kind of why I love it too. I text with the guys all the time, and my fiance, he knows who all the men are in my phone, if they're related to H&M, because I have like the orientation date behind the name. So I tell him, I'm like, well, if you find someone that doesn't have a date, then that's when I would, ask questions.
Sure. And we're going to get to your fiance here in just a second, but I had to tell this story because I think about it every day and it makes me laugh. I am a person that you will always find with a hat on. My bright ice white H&M trucking hat has kind of become iconic on this podcast, and I was concerned because I was going to a nice restaurant that they wouldn't allow hats when we were out to lunch together. And I'd asked you all if you knew if this place was, anti-hat. Nobody really did, but you told me to take my hat off just so you could get a picture. And do you remember exactly what you said before my hat was even all the way off my head?
Yeah, I said, put it back on.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you just look better with the hat on. I was just out.
I agree. 100% I agree. That's why I've spent more money on hats than I have on vehicles in my life, Brittany. So it makes total sense to me. And all you did was reaffirm a belief that I already had in spades. So don't worry. But you were great at making me comfortable, because that is how I'm comfortable. You know, if you looked at a group chat between me and my best friends, you would think we hated each other. Really, they're the only thing that matters to me in this life.
Yep, same. So
Good.
yeah, some people don't get my banterness, but most do. So that's nice.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I find that the professional driver community out there, these truck drivers are a lot the same as I am with my friends, and you seem to be. If you're not jabbing each other, it's almost like you don't like them, and so we can't have that, right?
Yes, I completely agree with you.
Now, you are engaged, congratulations, by the way, to a serviceman, an active serviceman, and that was another reason that we wanted to have you on the podcast today, is because we're doing a salute to the vets at H&M. They're a great group of people. I've talked to many of them here on this show, but can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be engaged to an active service member?
Yeah, so I told myself a long time ago I would never date anyone in the military. And now look at me. So I met him through a mutual friend of mine. And to be honest, I didn't even know he was in the military. And I thought he was actually from Georgia, because that's where he was based at when we met. So I thought he was a Southern gentleman. That's what I liked about him. And come to find out, he's actually from Iowa.
Oh, okay, which is just right there next door to you. And is there there's a little bit of a Nebraska-Iowa rivalry that goes on, isn't there?
Yes. And I also told myself I wouldn't date anyone from Iowa. So I'm just batting 100 with him. But no, it's been unique. I will say, living, he's been in 2 states. I've been just in Omaha. So the commutes, are going to slowly end. He is getting out, so that'll be kind of nice. But, it's different. The military life is completely different than the civilian life, the one that you and I and most people live. If the Army tells you to do something, he has to do it. We can kind of have a different say. We can kind of rebuttal back to the bosses of us. He can't necessarily do that with them. So it's just been, for me, I just don't know a lot about the military. So it's been kind of fun getting to know it and getting to see and meet pretty important higher up people in the military. So it's just a whole different life, to be honest.
Sure. Now, did you just tell me that you're totally comfortable telling Mr. President himself, James Fonda, no? Is that what I heard in there somewhere?
Yes.
Well,
he doesn't like it, and he'll just convince me otherwise, and then I will say yes.
At the old office, you guys sat pretty close in proximity to one another, so I imagine that was a relationship that was built on trust and jabs as well.
Oh, most definitely. And he still sits close to us, so he still gets the full effect of his daily life with us.
That's
and he
awesome.
loves it.
Good. It's good for him. I know it's good for him. I can tell.
We keep him humble. We keep Mr. Fonda humble.
Good. Well, you're doing God's work out there, Brittany. That's what I'll tell you about that, okay?
Yeah.
Before I let you go, we're getting close to running out of time here, but I do want to offer you the floor. If there's anything that you want to say, first of all, I should ask you this before I even get that far. When is the wedding?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, haven't set a date yet.
I don't have a clue. No.
Okay, well, if I don't see a save the date in the mail and I hear about this wedding, you know that I'm going to have some things to say about it, all right?
Yes, and you are more than welcome to have a hat on at the wedding, please.
I will do it. I can't risk a sunburn on my bald spot. Not at your wedding, not anywhere.
Well, I want my pictures to look good, So,
well, if nothing else, I can stand behind the camera and help with the white balance. All right, that's
okay.
There's a lot of light that reflects off of this dome of mine. So
I noticed when you peeked it out the one day, I was like, oh, just put it back.
Yeah. Well, anything that you want to say to first your engagement partner there, your fiance, or anything that you would like to say to the H&M staff or any of the drivers or any of the recruits that you guys have that you're onboarding right now, the floor is yours. Please take your time.
Okay. Well, to my fiance, thank you for serving for as long as you have. But I'm happy that you will be coming home and you'll always be home with us. Just to the drivers, we appreciate all of what you guys do. We know it's not easy, and we know how hard you guys work, and everyone in the office knows we work just as hard as you guys do to get you to the places you need to be and to make the miles that you need. So thank you.
That's Brittany Yarbrough. We're going to call you recruiting and onboarding specialist. All right.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you so much for being here, Brittany. I'm looking forward to having you on again. All right.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Same huge. Cut that out, would you?
Absolutely not.
It's time to lay down the law with Eve.
Always one of my favorite segments to look forward to, and it seems like it's been a little bit longer than a month since we had her on the last time. Please welcome HR Manager Eve Essary to the podcast. Eve, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me again, Marcus.
Do you feel like I was forgetting about you and that like you're overdue for this segment?
So neglected. That's right. So neglected right now. No, we've been really busy around here with getting things ready for open enrollment. So, we're just rolling through. I didn't even notice.
Good. That's the most important part. I want you to miss me, but if you don't, it means that you're staying busy, and that's always a good thing. So
that's right.
Did you have a good Halloween?
I did. I only have one trick-or-treater left at my house. The rest of the kids are way too old and too cool for that. And so she actually dressed up as her dad, who takes her trick-or-treating. And so I had little Minnie running around, and she got so much candy, but her brothers and sisters all did charge her the brother and sister tax on her candy stash. So that has helped clean it up a little bit, but we still have Halloween candy left at our house.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. And no better compliment for a dad than a daughter that wants to dress up like him, right?
It was pretty funny. It was, I'll have to send you some pictures. We'll have to post it somewhere so you can see it. It was pretty comical.
I'd love to see. I mean, I'm pretty much part of the family at this point, right? So yeah, send along the pictures. I'd love to see them.
For sure.
There's something I want to bring up before we get to the real meat of this segment. It's interesting to me because I've got friends in HR now. Connie's come on the podcast a couple of times. She's been great. This episode is going to be Brittany's debut on the podcast from recruiting. I've had Van Division. I've had Hopper Division. I've had all the way up and down as far as the brass is concerned at the company. But there's one section of the company that has eluded me at this point. And I think eluded me is like probably a misnomer, to be honest with you, Eve, because at this point in time, they've just straight up said no. And I got to ask, what is it with the dispatchers? Did I have bad breath when I came and I introduced myself to them? Or is it my face? Like, there's got to be something because I want them to come on so bad. Last week on the podcast, we had former dispatcher Tim Kruger on with driver Tom Woods. And it was one of the most entertaining and fun segments that I've done. Hearing those guys go back and forth with each other, it was like they were brothers. And I know that there's more relationships like that out there, but do you have any idea why the dispatchers just aren't having it when it comes to the H&M Trucking podcast?
I wish I knew, Marcus. I try to encourage them. It's actually a good time. Like, we have a great time when I'm on here, chatting it up and whatever. But I don't know if they're scared. I don't know what it is, but they're just not really ready to play in our sandbox here. And I'll try to encourage them, and hopefully maybe one of them or two of them will hear this and know that we're calling them out today. That you need this. You need the dispatchers here on this podcast. I listened to that podcast with Tim and Tom, and it was a great episode. They had a great rapport back and forth. So yeah, let's do more of that. So we'll see if we can get them in the spirit of things here and get them over to you. Yeah.
Well, I am coming back to Omaha here in a few short weeks, and I'm thinking that if the answer's still no, I'm just going to tell them, hey, I'm going to call you and ask you some questions that you can just talk to me, and they won't know, but I'll just record it. I know that's super uncouth and maybe even illegal in some states, but I mean, come on, you're HR. You can give me the go ahead on that, right?
Well, in the state of Nebraska, as long as one party knows that you're recording, you can record. So you're good as far as we're concerned.
Perfect.
But
even though the party that's in Nebraska,
you're gonna have to beep out some stuff, probably.
Hey, that's all right. I'm totally fine with that. And even though the party in Nebraska isn't the party that would know that I'm recording, there's got to be a legal loophole in there somewhere. We'll get the lawyers on the line and figure that out in the aftermath. But yeah, I'm gonna stop by and just poke my head into the cubicles and say, hey, I'm looking for you. Are you around? It was so funny because they were all so nice and they gave us such good info when we were there meeting in person, Eve. But when I asked them, there was, 5 or 6 of them sitting in front of me. And I said, so would you guys be willing to come on the podcast? I've never seen so many people in such perfect unison shake their head no at the same time. I mean, it was like they knew that when they were going right and when they were going left. So, but you know what? I'm like a virus. Just let me settle in long enough, and soon enough, everybody will have me. That's the way I look at it. So we're going to put some work in when I get in there and see you guys all again. I'm really looking forward to getting back out there and seeing the new office in its full glory with everyone in it. The last time I was there, you hadn't quite moved in yet. So I'm really excited. I can't promise that the weather's going to be great. I'm sure you guys are already dealing with the beginnings of winter out there in the Midwest, but I'm really excited to get back out to Omaha.
Marcus, you are a little bit like a virus in that I was today just talking to a gentleman from Tech Equipment. He's our Volvo dealer that we use here in Omaha. And so he goes, oh, you're the HR manager. He was like, I've heard you on the podcast. You were just on an episode. And I said, I actually haven't been on an episode in a little while, but I said, who has? My daughter. And he goes, oh, you guys sound so much alike. He literally thought that I was Faith. So,
hey, how about that?
So we have people from Tech Equipment listening to the podcast. So shout out to Mark we had our little chat today.
That's awesome. Well, when they came on the podcast, it was Mark. He was great, and it was so cool to just hear about the relationships that H&M has built over the years with their vendors. And, there's some great equipment that you guys are running, and there's people behind that equipment too. I thought that was a really fun idea to get, and I wish I could take credit for it. Totally wasn't my idea, but I was really excited to get them on and just hear somebody from outside the company talk about H&M a little bit. And, I'm, as much as I wish that I could take apart an engine and put it back together, I'm not a gearhead in that. Right. But I really like hearing about, specs and what the trucks have to offer and what the trailers have to offer. So one of my favorite episodes for sure is that vendor special that we ran. So if you haven't checked that one out and you're listening thinking, hey, I'd like to hear it, it's down the feed, just a few clicks. Definitely go back and check that out. Tech Equipment. We had on the guys from Utility Trailer as well. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that up. We've got fans outside the umbrella of H&M. I know that that's true.
Absolutely, it is.
We're actually international, Eve. We've gotten listens from, I would say, probably like in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 different countries, and they only pop in every now and then. And I have no idea how these people find it, but every now and then I'll pick up a listen from like the middle of Africa in some random country or any part of Europe. It's been really cool. This podcast is worldwide now, which I can't. I'm going to throw my shoulder out, patting myself on the back here.
I love that.
Well, let's get down to brass tacks here. It's time to lay down the law with Eve. What have you got for us today?
So today I actually want to talk about holidays. So I know that we're really close to Thanksgiving at this point, but Christmas and New Year's are just on the horizon as well. So making it through all of those holidays and kind of what that looks like. So for our drivers, we do pay holiday pay for drivers that are available for dispatch or under dispatch during the holiday. So I want to talk about that a little bit, how that works, because I do get a lot of questions about it when it comes up. The first holiday comes around, usually it's Thanksgiving, and people are like, oh, wait, why is this way and that? So I just want to clear that up a little bit. So H&M Trucking, we're 365 days a year. Our customers, some of them are 365 days a year. So we have to be able to meet those needs. So in order to do that it's important that we have some drivers that are available to work the holidays. So to encourage them to work the holidays and to stay out and to reward them for those that do. I know they're away from their families and all of that. So we want to show them the appreciation for that. They do get an extra $225 when they're willing to work during those holidays. That includes Christmas, New Year's, and Thanksgiving that's coming up. Others as well, but we're going to just talk about those today. So if the driver does not request time off for the holiday and is out on the road and under dispatch, they get paid the $225. If they don't request time off and they're not purposely routed home, then they're going to be paid for the holiday. Now, if the driver purposely requests to be routed home, even if they're under a load, but they request to be routed home during that holiday, they're not going to get that $225 because there's out of route miles involved. There's extra expenses, all of that in order to get them home. We are perfectly willing to get them home for the holidays so they can be with their family. That's not the issue. The issue is we still have freight that needs to be delivered too. So trying to work with our customers and do what's right for the drivers. So where's that happy medium? So we're just trying to do that. So just know that. But if they don't request home time, and then the dispatcher still gets them home, that's fine. Like as long as it's not out of route, they're still going to get paid the $225. So I know that can be kind of confusing when it's paid and when it's not, and then that $225 is reflected on their settlement sheet, not on their pay stub. So it's going to be the settlement sheet that's emailed to them, not their pay stub that they see through paychecks. So, and if anybody has any questions about the holiday pay or anything, feel free to give me a call or Wendy, who's our payroll specialist.
And I'm sure that they will come in. That's one of the reasons we're doing this podcast, right? Is to try to get that message out in plenty of time because you don't want to show up late for Thanksgiving. Once that turkey's already carved, yeah, come on. I mean, you might as well have just stayed out and made the $225. So just to give you a hypothetical situation here, sure. I'm out, I'm running around, I haven't requested any time off, and I get home on Thanksgiving. Maybe I'm coming home that morning. I'm still getting paid that holiday pay because I didn't make anything happen different. I didn't request anything special. But let's say I'm going to make it home on Thanksgiving because I've said, hey, I need to be home on Thanksgiving.
Right.
Then I'm not going to get the money, correct?
That's exactly right, Marcus. Exactly right. You got it.
Cool. Well, I mean, give me the keys and let me get out there on the road. I don't think I need to go study. I've been doing this for long enough now. I'm just playing. I could never, it was floated at one point in time. Grant, one of the guys that works here within the podcast, wanted to send me to CDL school.
For it.
And
for it.
I was terrified.
For it. Well, the only other thing I wanted to make sure that I say too is any requests for Christmas and New Year's should be in 30 days prior so that we have time to make those plans to get you home. So if you need to be home for Christmas and New Year's, make sure that you're requesting that now so that we can make sure that it happens. The more time we have to get that planned, the better your chances of getting there on time are. So now is the time to plan ahead.
Good advice, and definitely do plan as far ahead as you can. It's no surprise here that you guys have a holiday pay structure, and it's also no surprise that you're totally willing to get drivers back home if that's where they want to be. It's always seemed to be kind of the thing. I mean, when I talk to drivers and they talk about, a family emergency or a birthday or a football game that a child's playing in or something like that, H&M always gets them back when they need to be back. It's just a matter of whether or not you have the time and the ability to plan ahead for that so that the customer doesn't end up being the one that's on the short end of that stick.
Exactly right. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about this company and about H&M is how willing they are to put our drivers and their families first. And they really are. So, but just work with us and let us know what the need is. That's the biggest obstacle for us.
Well, there you go. Is that it for laying down the law this week?
I just have one other thing, Marcus, I want to mention is that open enrollment starts November 13th through the 24th. So when this podcast airs, we'll be right in the middle of that time frame, if I'm doing my math correctly here. And so make sure that you're looking at your email. I'm sending out notices. Look at your Samsara. I'm going to send some notices that way. We are going to hit this hard and try to make sure that everybody goes in and either elects or declines all of their benefits. A lot of different changes this year. I know we talked about all those. So it's really important that you go in and look at those options. You could be saving money. So that's important.
Yes, and lots of it. And you know, it's one of those things where you're better at my job than I am, because now you've teased 2 of our previous episodes. We do have a very good open enrollment episode that's just a few episodes down the feed. So if you haven't listened to that yet and you're wondering about what the changes are, Eve and Connie detailed those very well and gave a lot of direction as to how to go about all the different processes that are involved in open enrollment. It's never an easy thing, but you've got really good support there, drivers. I'm talking to one of them right now, so make sure to give Eve a call and listen to that episode so that you know exactly where you need to be.
For sure.
All right, now can I press my button?
Press it, Marcus. Press it.
You know, before I let you go, because we're talking a little bit about holidays, you got a big family. How many are you cooking for over Thanksgiving, or do you get to kick your feet up and be cooked for on Thanksgiving this year?
No, I cook for Thanksgiving. It's easier for the 14 of us to be at my house than it is for us to try to go anywhere. So, but I've less this year. So a couple of my kids are taking a vacation to Nashville over Thanksgiving. A couple of them one of my sons is in college in Galveston, and 2 of my other sons are going to Galveston to spend Thanksgiving with him since he was going to be by himself. So my 3 teenage boys are going to attempt to make a Thanksgiving dinner in a dorm room. That should be fun.
That's great. Well, if we hear about a structure fire in Galveston, we'll know exactly what happened there.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't trust them any. They're going to end up with mac and cheese, I'm sure, from the box, of course. But then for the rest, I'll be cooking. So we'll do the whole Thanksgiving thing. How about you? What do you guys do?
I am having the entire family over to my house for the first time in a long time. My mom and dad, my sister and brother-in-law, and their 2 kids. I've got a friend that doesn't have any place else to go, and so he's bringing his son. We've got the in-laws coming over. My other brother-in-law. I've got at least tentatively 16 to 17. I don't know that I have the room for them, but I'll have food for them. So as long as everybody doesn't mind eating standing up, we're going to be just fine. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a big football game on the Friday that follows. It's the Oregon Ducks' last game of the year, and last conference game of the year, I should say. And it's the annual rivalry, which we call here in this state, well, some of us do, the Civil War. Because it's Oregon versus Oregon State, and it's very brother versus brother type thing. And I myself come from a house divided. My sister is an Oregon State Beaver. I am an Oregon Duck. She asked me recently, I'm coming to the game. Can I wear Oregon State Beaver gear at your Oregon Duck tailgate? And I said, listen, Mackenzie, everybody is welcome at my tailgate. Do not talk to me once we get into the stadium, though. So that's very important that she knows that.
We have a big game here, too. It's the Huskers versus Iowa on Black Friday. So we are we're gearing up for that, too. And we are also very divided in our friends. So we have some Iowa State, and then we have our Husker fans. So we all get together and just give each other a hard time and razz each other for a few hours.
That's great. I'm so happy that the Ducks are coming to the Big Ten next year. I know that we're not going to get to play Nebraska for a couple of years, but James and I have been trading barbs back and forth. I know that you and I will get to do the same in the years to come. So it just makes me feel so at home that you guys are way more worried about the football on Black Friday than the shopping, because that's exactly how I am. You know what? I won't even start my shopping until a week after Black Friday just because I hate it so much. Yeah, exactly. Right here from the comfort of my studio. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, this is great, Eve. Thank you so much for being here. As always, you're one of my absolute favorite guests. Don't tell anybody else I said that. I don't want the dispatchers to get all bent out of shape before they decide to finally come on this podcast.
That's what happens when they're not a guest, so they can't be your favorite.
There you go. There you go. Eve Essary, HR manager from H&M Trucking. Thank you for being here. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thank you. Bye.
Great stuff there. Loving this episode so far today. And I wanted to bring you a little bit, let's just call it a segment on the positive impact that veterans have had on the trucking industry. Once again, before we get into it, happy Veterans Day to all of you veterans at H&M and beyond. Only makes sense to throw in that eagle screech, right? The trucking industry plays a pivotal role in the global economy, serving as the lifeblood of commerce by ensuring the seamless transportation of goods across vast distances. Often overlooked, yet indispensable to the success of this industry, are the veterans who have transitioned from military service to the world of trucking. They bring a lot of transferable skills. One of the most significant ways in which veterans have positively impacted the trucking industry is through the skills acquired during their military service. These skills encompass discipline, attention to detail, adaptability, and the ability to work under pressure. The discipline instilled during military service equips vets with a strong work ethic, punctuality, and a commitment to safety, all of which are invaluable attributes in the trucking industry. Attention to detail is huge in the trucking industry, whether it is maintaining and inspecting their trucks or adhering to intricate routes and schedules. Vets' meticulous approach ensures that the goods they transport are handled with care and precision. Vets are renowned for their adaptability, having served in diverse environments and often under challenging conditions. This adaptability enables them to navigate through the ever-changing landscape of the trucking industry, whether it be dealing with inclement weather, unexpected road closures, or shifting regulations. Vets' strong work ethic is a hallmark of their contribution to the trucking industry as well. Military training instills values like responsibility and reliability, which are essential in the world of trucking. These attributes translate into drivers who show up on time, complete their routes efficiently, and maintain their vehicles meticulously. Truck drivers are often tasked with delivering goods on a tight schedule, and vets' dedication to the mission and their ability to manage time effectively make them exceptional truck drivers. This work ethic is not only essential for the individual success of drivers, but also for the efficiency of the industry as a whole. Vets are no strangers to adversity and problem solving. Their time in the military has honed their ability to remain composed under pressure, a skill that is crucial for truck drivers who encounter unexpected challenges on the road. Whether it's a mechanical issue with the truck or navigating through challenging weather conditions, vets' resilience and problem-solving abilities allow them to find solutions and keep goods moving, and keep America moving. Vets' familiarity with emergency protocols and their capability to remain level-headed during crisis contribute to their effectiveness in the trucking industry as well. This has a direct impact on safety, both for the drivers themselves and the general public. Safety is paramount in the trucking industry, and veterans bring their commitment to safety with them from their military experience. The military emphasizes the importance of safety in every aspect of their operations, and this mindset is seamlessly transferred to the trucking industry. Vets often have experience with heavy machinery and equipment in the military. Can't tell you how many times I've talked to drivers on this very podcast who say, I was a mechanic or I was a truck driver in the military. It's happened a lot. You can go back to those episodes and listen to those guys talk about how their military experience really helped them along the way. They understand the importance of following safety protocols and maintaining their vehicles. This is all huge. Discipline instilled in veterans ensures that they remain vigilant while driving, reducing the risk of accidents caused by distracted or reckless driving. Their dedication to safety not only benefits the trucking companies, but also contributes to the overall safety of the entire transportation network. In recent years, we all know the trucking industry has faced a growing driver shortage. Vets have played a crucial role in mitigating this issue by entering the industry in significant numbers. Their transition from military service to trucking not only fills much-needed positions, but also brings with it the values and skills that the industry desperately requires. There are programs and initiatives that aim to facilitate the transition of vets into the trucking industry. These initiatives provide training, education, and support to vets seeking a career in trucking, making the transition smoother and more accessible. Did you see how I just went with transmission there and not transition? Yeah, you can tell that I do a trucking podcast. In conclusion here, the positive impact of vets on the trucking industry just cannot be overstated, and I won't allow it to be, not here on this podcast. Their transferable skills, strong work ethic, resilience, and commitment to safety have contributed to the industry's efficiency and success. They've not only addressed the ongoing driver shortage, but they've also set a high standard for professionalism and integrity on the road. As we recognize the invaluable contributions of vets to the trucking industry, it's important to continue supporting their transition and advocating for programs that facilitate their entry into the field. By doing so, we not only honor their service, but also strengthen the backbone of global commerce while ensuring the safe and efficient transport of goods for generations to come. Veterans, the unsung heroes of the road, have played a vital role in keeping the wheels of the trucking industry turning and will continue to do so for years to come. From the H&M Trucking Podcast and everybody that is behind it, happy Veterans Day, H&M drivers and staff.
Knowledge and stories from coast to coast. This is your driver profile.
It's time for our episode 35 driver profile here on the H&M Trucking Podcast. Please welcome driver Erik King to the show. Erik, how you doing today, man?
Good, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being willing to join us here today. Where are you at and where are you headed out there?
I am in Roanoke, Virginia. I'm heading to Furwick, Pennsylvania.
Okay, and what are you hauling?
Paper towels. You want some?
I'd love some, man. You know how much I spend on those things? I've started buying them at Costco, and it's like, how much do I have to spend on paper towels, and how many do I have to buy? It's unbelievable.
If you got kids or you got animals, believe me, you need. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, man. Well, look, we really appreciate the time, as I said. And how long have you been driving for H&M?
I started back just this past August. I was with a little smaller companies prior, but it's because of Sherry is why I came over here. You know, and Sherry's a really good people person. She's really awesome. I like her.
And what kind of influence did she have to come over? Did she just say, "Hey, listen, you should give this a try," or did you find out about it somewhere else? How'd you guys get hooked up?
Well, she got me by bribing me with bacon. No, she didn't do that. That would have been awesome. You know, here's some bacon. Oh, nice. You know, that's one bet. No, what happened was I just came from a shoddy company prior, and I was about to give up trucking. You know, because it started to become monotonous. You know, you busting your behind for somebody, and so I gave her one more shot, and Sherry just told me things being real. You know, for the size company, the H&M is. They really don't bother you. They really don't. I'm not used to that. You know, I'm used to people get on your neck every 5. Where you at? Same place I was 5 minutes ago. You know, that's what I'm used to.
I got you, man. So, well, you're not the first person to tell me that H&M isn't really going to micromanage you out there. They trust you to do your job, and they let you be an adult about it and get it done.
Well, if you're not an adult, you shouldn't be having a CDL to begin with and out here risking your not so much your life, but other people's lives.
Yeah, at that point, I think you're probably right.
I'm still a kid. Nah, get away. Even when I started out, you know, at 21, you're still in that kid stage somewhat. You know, you sort of think, oh, this is awesome. So you start sliding sideways on the icy road, and as we become a little trucker.
Yeah, that's when you grow up a little bit. Hey, man, look, I'm pushing 40 at this point, Erik, and if I could meet my 21-year-old self, I probably would have a chat with him after I punched him square in the jaw, to be honest with you.
I'm the same with my daughter. She's 19 years old. I'm 43, so when we had our daughter, when she turned 18, she goes, I want to be a truck driver. I said, come with me, my friend. So she gets in the truck 2 weeks later. How do you do this? I'm like, you gotta ignore everybody. If you don't, you start getting mad. You come to Hawk, you pick up the truck, we'll slap them with it, whatever. But you know, you have to ignore it because there's a lot of shenanigans goes on behind this windshield. Now, a lot of weird stuff happens, but sometimes it's funny, sometimes not so much.
Well, so let me ask you that. If she really did, if she went out there and spent 2 weeks with you and came back really wanting to still be a truck driver, is that something that you would support her in, or would you try to turn her away from it?
What I would do is I would train her. Because today's training is not like how it was when a lot of us started. Well, I've been doing it since 2000 off and on with the military in the middle. But a driver that's been on it longer than me knows exactly what I'm talking about. They don't train like they used to. They'll give you the keys after 4 weeks. I don't care what job you're doing. You're not going to learn it in 4 weeks. This is even more dangerous because you put your life and other people's lives in danger. Mm-hmm. And with today's society, the social media group, all these kids want to have their phones in their face. I think they need more training, definitely more than what we did. We didn't have cell phones when we started. You know, and I wish we did. You know, they have it easier, but it's also harder because it does. People use technology too much to guide them, and they find themselves in a pickle. Besides common sense, and at 19, 20, you really don't have common sense yet.
No, it's not common at all at that age.
No. Oh my God. I still think I pushed my daughter again in the military at a younger age because I'm like that helps guide you and to start growing some common sense, hopefully, or at least get yourself work ethic.
Sure.
You know, because in trucking you gotta have work ethic. If you don't, you're always gonna be late. You're gonna always break the truck. Everything can go wrong with this wheel.
For sure. So that's actually something that I wanted to get into with you. First of all, I want to say from everybody here at the H&M Trucking Podcast, Happy Vets Day, and thank you for your service, Erik.
Well, thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
Now, what branch of the military were you in?
I was in the United States Army.
Okay, and aside from the work ethic, obviously you already mentioned that, but what are some other skills or I guess things that you learned along the way while you were serving in the Army that helped translate into a successful career as a truck driver?
Well, besides work ethic, time management, be early, be decent to the people. You know, you got workers, you know, at these factories, a lot of places we go to, you know, they're working a job just like we are. Give them some consideration. You know, that's been lost for so long lately. That helps me anyways. Mm-hmm. You know, I try to understand their shoes. There's about 20,000 different types of people in this industry. You know, everyone comes from different backgrounds. Understand what they're going through. So I put myself, when I was in the Army, it was the exact same concept. You know, everyone from everywhere, different backgrounds, different upbringings. Understand their shoes. You don't know what they're going through. You know, so I try to be kind in that. Also, help teach. As a soldier, we always got taught to listen, but also teach others that need help. The same thing in the trucking industry. You know, people quickly use their phones when you see someone screwing up, backing up. Get out and help them. You know, and it's not funny when it's you. That's the way I look at it.
For sure. No, I think that's a great perspective to have because, you know, you could be the best truck driver on planet Earth and have trouble backing up one day. And just to have somebody back there waving you along or helping you out might just fix what could have been a really bad day if you were to bump something when you're backing up. So I think that's a really nice thing about your take on things, Erik, because it is easy to get the phone out. It is easy to videotape and sit back and laugh and not be a part of the solution and more a part of the problem these days.
And also, like I said, this is a adulting job. You know, you're always behind the wheel. You know, some of us out here weeks, months, whatever at a time. We also want to go home to our families. It's the same thing as the military. You know, if they don't listen to their superiors, you know, or, you know, do what's right, you're going to end up hurting yourself or your whole platoon because of one person not paying attention. It's the same thing. We pull a lot of hazmat here at H&M. You know, and it takes one mistake, and we're all going to get it.
Absolutely. Well, and that's something that I kind of want to touch on as well, the safety aspect. Obviously, safety is first and foremost in the trucking industry, and I feel like that's probably something that gets hammered home pretty hard when you're in the armed services as well. Is that true?
That is true. Like, for instance, when you have your weapon, you know, I call it weapon, people call it guns. It's not a gun, okay? It's a weapon, okay? have your safety on. It's the same thing that's how I got injured in the Army, someone not paying attention. During a live grenade range, he threw it straight up. Besides paying attention to what we told him. Well, it got me and 3 other people hurt. We could have been dead, but grace to God, we didn't. Now, he got thrown out immediately because if that was out in the out in a combat zone, you could have taken out easily your whole platoon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing here in the trucking. If you don't pay attention, you're holding explosives, you're holding something flammable. Not paying attention. Truckers see it all the time. You see people a lot with, especially tankers, hauling behind. I'm talking about hauling around the corners. Next thing you know, they're blown up. I've seen it. I know a lot of other drivers in this company have seen it. If only people start using common sense. Again, we go with the common sense.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like, from an outsider's perspective, it's like, oh yeah, why wouldn't you use that common sense? Why wouldn't you always have a mind for safety? But I think you already kind of touched on it too. You don't know what people are going through that day. You don't know what type of other things they're trying to pay attention to. You can't, doing your job, it doesn't seem to me from the outside like you can just pay attention to one thing. You've got to have this mind that can be constantly taking in maybe even hundreds of things at once to try to make one good decision where it comes to your safety and everyone else's around you.
Well, going along with safety, it also helps from the public with the other truckers. Like, we're talking about safety. Biggest problem we have is parking.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of drivers, I know you probably heard it 1,000 times, and I'm going to beat that horse till it's dead some more. We have a parking problem out here. Like, for instance, I'm driving right now. A lot of truck stops right now, it's already full. And if you don't, you can pre-plan all you want. Sometimes something's going to happen. Someone overturns. Something that happens on the road. You can't just make it, or if you break down. And next thing you know, like for instance, I'm going to get parked by 11 o'clock. That's going to be really fun looking for a parking spot, especially in the Northeast. Florida's another problem. But we're going about safety. We also, public, say, hey, we need parking. It's not really safe parking on the shoulder. People coming off the road crashing into somebody because he fell asleep at the wheel.
Right.
Taking out the trucker too. So we need safety protocols out here on the road as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're definitely not the first driver to bring that up to me, Erik. And I think that it's important that we continue to beat that dead horse, as you said, because the problem hasn't been solved. I was just a week ago, I was reading some of the ATRI's top 10 issues facing the trucking industry, and parking was one of the top 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken, as voted on by the people that work in the industry like yourself. And what I noticed when I was going through their report was that parking has been an issue for years, decades even, and it still hasn't really gotten addressed at this point. Do you have any ideas or just from your perspective out there on the road on how we could address this parking issue that you guys deal with every single day?
That's another, see, the problem is, I know how, because a lot of us have suggested the same thing. And another problem with the parking is now a lot of places going towards paid parking.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're not rich out here. Yeah, most of the drivers out here are not rich. If we were rich, believe me, everybody would be doing it. The problem is, it's more. We keep getting more and more trucks on the road, and we really don't have enough space to park it all.
Right.
And with the loads being as bad as it is right now, a lot of companies aren't parking it, or you can't find a load. You see trucks staying at the truck stops longer than normal. But like you said, it's been a problem like this for years. We keep going around the exact same circle. Now, I'll give the Midwest credit. They're actually working on it. The Midwest is doing more than what the Northeast and the West Coast is. California is somewhat helping, but not as much. Up in Oregon, you really got pay attention. Thank God for Trucker Path, and there's the other one, Mud Flap. But it wasn't because of those. That would make it even worse.
Yeah.
But then again, it goes along with truckers helping. Truckers can help along with that as well. Because when you get some of these truck stops at night, they just park anywhere. And sometimes they'll park anywhere, and there's a lot of parking. They just don't want to back up because then, that's another problem we're having in trucking is there's a lot of laziness happening.
Mm-hmm.
And with the laziness comes more problems. People just want to park, so I'm going to park right here. There's drivers out there pay for parking. What the places won't go out there and tell them to move, even though that one driver did pay, but the other guy didn't.
Right.
So a lot of it has to do with laziness, but at the end of the day, I don't know what to do. We keep going in circles with things.
Sure. Well, and there was another thing that was addressed is it's not just as easy as laying down a pad of concrete on the side of the freeway someplace. You need to have a spot that's safe for everybody, because obviously if you're out in the middle of nowhere and it's a dark place, it's not real well lit. Well, now you got to start to worry about people's safety outside of their trucks, or I did just drive across the state of Oregon last week, and it was something that I noticed at every single rest stop that I stopped at. The truck parking was full, and it wasn't a busy time of the week. It was late afternoon on a Sunday is when I was coming through, and the truck stops were full, but the rest areas were full too. And that is when you start to see people parking on ramps and off ramps, and you guys are trained to be out there. Some better trained than others, obviously, but
thank God you said that.
those four-wheelers out there, you don't know. I mean, the training for a four-wheeler is much less than what it is for somebody with their CDL, and they might just not be paying attention. Like you said, all of a sudden they come plowing into your truck parked along the side of the road at 70 miles an hour. You could have a much worse problem than just not finding a place to park. So it's like a cascading problem. If you don't have enough places to park, people will find places to park, and those places will probably start to cause other problems in, safety or anything like that. Well, Erik, I can't tell you how much it means to me to have these discussions with you, because I really think that this is the way that these kind of problems get solved, and maybe we don't solve all of them. Maybe we don't solve any of them, but I think talking about them, especially kind of openly and not acting like everything's rainbows and butterflies out here, is the way to figuring out how to approach a solution.
Yes, I actually would be better if we start getting the four-wheelers to understand this more just as well when we're talking about safety. Because most of our accidents usually happen because a four-wheeler not paying attention, or they're in a rush to cut us off. I am happy at least H&M has safety. One, we do have a good safety team. Two, we have good safety in a truck. But it ain't going to matter at the end of the day if someone's not paying attention. Everyone's got a phone in their hand. Well, I see fellow truck drivers doing the same thing. They've got a phone in their hand. They're looking down, and next thing you know, they're coming at me. Do I crash? What do I do? I don't move. You're going to come get me, come get me. But with that being said, because I don't want to kill nobody. I don't want to hurt nobody. But the problem is the four-wheelers are not paying attention. And if we have some type of way where we can get the four-wheelers to go through a class and see what we see and see what we don't see. Because we can see everything, but there's a lot of things we can't see.
Right.
We have blind spots. Hey, let's cut in front of him. He don't care. Well, next thing you know, that poor truck driver is out in the ditch.
Yep.
And then when we get in an accident, regardless if it's our fault or not, especially when it's unpreventable, it still goes in your license.
Exactly.
So either way, we still get in trouble.
Right.
And then if you're looking for a job, why were you in an accident? What, could you avoided it? Oh, that's why I took out the wall. What do you think? I don't have wings. What should we do? We all be flying out here. That'd be cool.
Yeah, right. And a little bit. I don't have to worry about those yellow lines so much when you're hovering over this nice, pretty blue planet. But well, that's something else that I saw on the American Transportation Research Institute's poll about the top 10 issues. Distracted driving showed back up on there this year after it had actually not been on the list for a few years. It's a real problem, man, and there's a lot of people that die every year or get very badly injured just because that cell phone rang. And you're right. These four-wheelers don't really understand how far you travel in the amount of time it takes you to read and respond to a text message. It's a lot further than you think at highway speeds, and you got to remember how long it takes for one of you guys to stop when you're fully loaded. If you're not paying attention, you might end up looking like a crushed pop can on the side of the road as a four-wheeler.
Here in H&M, we've got great safety, so we won't have that problem.
Well, that's good to hear.
I'm trying to kiss him. I don't get fired after I say what I'm about to say. No, no, honestly, please don't fire me. I love y'all. No, honestly, that's one thing I like about being over here. You know, this is a real good company, and I've been around off and on since 2000, and they do take care of you here. So, you know, even when it comes to safety, you know, you might once in a while, I'm talking to you, Shelly. Yeah, I'm about to get an email now. They at least hey, I come in and certify your logs. You know, what happened here? What happened there? At least they're being proactive. There's a lot of companies that don't care about their truckers at all. There's a lot of that going on. And, you know, that goes along with training. You know, I've seen the guys going down the street. I'm talking about fellow drivers with their leg hanging out the window. I mean, what is going on here? And so one guy actually cooking dinner. You know, I cook dinner in the truck, but I'm not doing it while I'm driving.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's
you know, I'm making a cheeseburger.
Unbelievable.
What's going on here?
That's crazy.
You know, and that's the whole thing about, again, we've been talking about it earlier, common sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not too common right now. So, yeah, we can talk about it, but eventually there's going to have to be some action, because if not, we're going to continue to keep going down the slippery slope, and, well, that's part of the reason why insurance is always high, because there's always accidents.
Yep, absolutely. You said it, man. You said it. Well, listen, we're running out of time here. I want to make sure and give you some time. Is there anything that you would like to say to your fellow drivers out there, to the staff at H&M back at headquarters, or your family that might be listening to this? The floor is yours, please.
Listen, H&M, it's not kissing butt, because I don't do that. This is Socks. Y'all know me back at the headquarters. I love y'all. You all good people. And as for our fellow drivers, seriously, we got to start looking out for each other. There's a lot of people just standing there on their phones. You see someone, help them. You know, we're all in this together, because it only takes one person to take you out. It only takes one person. Let's help each other out, and we can do our thing out here.
Absolutely. And anything to say to the family, maybe that daughter of yours?
Get a job. And for the rest of everybody else, I love y'all. Christine and my kids at the home. And speaking of that, we were talking about this earlier. You know, the grace of the God. We're adopting I think it's 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. So, you know, that goes along with safety. Kids. You know, that's the reason why I do what I do out here driving. And I like to get on to my kids just as well as everyone else.
Absolutely. Well, hey, and I'm sorry I did forget to bring that up, and I'm glad that you did. Congratulations, man. That is an awesome thing to hear. You got a new addition coming to the family. You're taking one under your wing. I can't tell you how awesome that is to hear. I'm really happy that you shared that with us today.
I appreciate it, Christine and the kids. I love y'all. And I want my bacon, Sherry.
That's H&M driver Erik King. You might know him as Socks. Thanks for joining us today, Erik. You be safe out there.
Thank you, brother. God bless y'all. Y'all be safe.
Thank you. That's going to wrap up this episode of the H&M Trucking Podcast. Thank you all so much for being here. You know, as always, I want to make sure and hit the homework real quick. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. Interact with us every time you see us on social media. And if you want to be a guest on the podcast, get in touch with Eve, get in touch with us on social media, get in touch with anybody there at the office, and we will make sure to get you on the show. This show has been very special to me, and I hope that it's been special to you as well. I have a huge undying respect for you vets out there, and also all of the active service members. I don't know if there's somebody that is still serving that might be listening to this podcast. Thank you, of course, as always. But to our vets out there, and especially our H&M vets, hats off to you for making the sacrifice that you did to protect our country, and then joining us here in the trucking industry and helping elevate this industry to where we find it today. I got a list from Eve, and it's very important to me that we go ahead and give these people a shout out. Now, I do want to say one thing, because I don't want anybody calling up Eve and saying, hey, how come my name wasn't there? If you didn't check the box that said you were a vet, then Eve doesn't know you were a vet. So she sent me these names. These are the people that check the box, and these are the ones that I want to say a very special thank you to from the entire team here at the H&M Trucking Podcast before we get out today. Scott Aldstadt, Patty Roop, Joe Hunter, Ruben Rangel, James Fonda, Vincent Campos, Jared Sir, Justin Mann, Austin Jansen, Erik King, and Bill Chrisman. Thank you all so much for everything you've done for this great country, for H&M Trucking, your families, and beyond. Hats off to you. Happy Veterans Day from the H&M Trucking Podcast. See you next time. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Thank you for listening to the H&M Trucking Podcast. Please leave a review, subscribe, and connect with Marcus over at the H&M Trucking social media channels. And if you're considering a job at H&M, find us at hmtrucking.com. Until next time, stay safe and ahead of the curve drivers.